beginning to make the needle move also. So I thought I'll just touch on that point, which is different from some of the points that we've touched. So great, we've had a discussion around these three aspects. Let's open the floor for the question and answers from the audience. So any first question, or this is a last session and we are winding up, so questions are difficult to come?
Thoughts, comments?
Anything, yeah.
I know Deloitte has done some amazing work in the area of diversity, and we often hear about the best practices. Can you talk about one transition which was most challenging to really, as Deloitte went through its diversity journey, and how did you kind of work through that challenge?
Sure, great question, and thanks for saying that. I would say undoubtedly bringing everyone on board with flexible work arrangements. Because there's this mindset that if your team member is not sitting right under your nose, then they're probably not working. They're probably not being productive. I know that today it seems like odd to hear it because many organizations have, just like Deloitte has worked hard to overcome that, and again through a lot of communication and prioritizing how important it is in today's world and all the studies around millennials, how the millennials prioritize work and what is their aspirations and goals, and in order to retain them, we as organizations definitely need to get even better with flexibility and flexible work options. So I would say the most challenging one has been people to adopt. The easy part for us was to put that framework in place. 3 months, 6 months, this is what it should look like, this is what people should do, this is what we will allow, that was the easy part. Now how do you get business leaders to make sure that they are, downstream, everybody who's a team leader or a manager, supervisor, they're actually bought into it, they're offering it to their team members, that they are allowing their team members to experience Deloitte or whichever organization we work for, are getting that experience and, sort of benefiting out of those progressive policies. So I would say that has been the biggest one.
I have a question to Ms. Sunita. You were talking about the 3 stages. The middle stage probably is the place where there's so much attrition. How it has worked for Wipro, I want to know, because that sounds interesting to me. If you can just share some experiences.
So like Amita mentioned, flexibility and what can you do around it. So for example, if there was someone who was getting married, it was fairly obvious that the woman would just follow where the spouse was, And we're lucky in that way because we have offices across the globe. So we've actually made it known to people as a policy, and it's not just for women, by the way. It could be that the man could follow where the wife is. And we're saying that if there is an office location that Wipro has in that city, you will get transferred. Now, simple thing, it changed the way people really looked at it from, even the decisions that they had to probably make before marriage, because it just kind of sorted it out that even if I'm on the bench, I still have my career intact and I don't need to lose it. So that was one big one. The other one clearly was after childbirth, and what exactly are you doing in terms of connecting with the women? Because a lot of times we say it's about 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. I think more than all of it, it is about the connect that you have with that person, even when they're not in the office. And more importantly, when they come back, what is the role that you give them? A lot of times, you kind of just assume that the person is not going to be as productive, and, the safest place is mission quality. So quality job, it's a support function, or it's so it's fine, she can go there, and she need not be in the mainstream. I think somewhere we just told women that option is not available to you. Even if it means that you work just half a day, but be mainstream. You know, be in front of the business, because that will help you in the long run. You need the flexibility, of course we'll give you that, right? So if, be it half day, be it working from home, that flexibility is there. So I think a combination of these factors is what's helped us.
Yeah. My question is for Sunita again. You being the diversity leader for Wipro Technologies, what is the percentage of women and men ratio, and how we can improve that? Do you have some glimpses for us?
So just to correct, I have moved on from the diversity and inclusion head role. So you'll meet Priyanka tomorrow, whom I've transitioned to. So she's also part of my team, but she heads gender. From a number statistics point of view, we do measure it, but very clearly, like I said, I didn't want numbers to be what rules this game. So in all honesty, we have not targeted any manager with a number. We're extremely clear that number will not be the focus in this space. It is the actions you do, and the actions should speak, and the actions should move the meter. So while I have the numbers, like I said, you know, I can only say that it has improved. So if I look at what it was when we started to today, I don't want to go tom-tomming on the fact that you were at X and today you're Y. I would much rather say that you've taken the right actions, which has moved the needle.
This is a question for Raj. It's a little off-tangent question. You're a part of a larger group, Tata Group, and each company in the group will be at a different state of maturity. Are you able to hear me?
No, I'm not able to.
Part of the Tata Group, which has...
Yeah. Probably I'll sit down, maybe there's some echo. Are you able to hear me better?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're a part of the larger Tata Group, and each company would be at a different state of maturity when it comes to topics like gender balance, leadership. So how do you bring it all together as a group, and how do you leverage this as an advantage for building leadership pipe?
How do you bring it all as a group, the entire Tata fraternity, in terms of gender and how do you leverage it?
Sure. Yeah, there was a program which was kicked off last year called Tata Lead, and with a specific agenda of improving the diversity quotient within the group. And there are certain, and this has been a program where there have been leaders, managers who have been trained extensively, and there's been communication as well. And it started with the MDs and the CXOs, and then it's percolated further down. And multitudes of our managers have gone through programs, both training programs as well as communication programs. And there are specific actions which are emanating from each of those, and which are then collated and actioned upon by each organization. Each organization is different from the other. The diversity needs are also different from within each organization. However, each organization takes its own steps, keeping their reality and their needs in mind. And overall, the Tata Group objectives are met through that cascading. And this program has been kicked off a year ago, and so far the entire communication part of it has been done. And like my fellow panelists were saying, there's a very clear process by which metrics are laid down and monitored and shared. And actions also are, specific goals are given out, and then actions on that are monitored and reviewed at certain points in time. And this is done, and there's also sharing of resources which can happen through this program. So I think this whole thing is pulled together at the group center, and pulled together by the human resources team at the center. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Hi, my name is Rani. I lead the diversity and inclusion for TCS Bangalore. I have a question to the panel. This is a different perspective altogether about having women in leadership positions. Now, the recent LinkedIn study says most of the critical position in any organization, especially huge companies, get filled by known faces than unknown faces. To give you an example, say ABCs are reporting to Manager X. When Manager X gets promoted to Leader Y would prefer to choose somebody of high performance ABC to play this Manager X role. So meaning he is already aware of these folks. On the other side, women are seen as bad at networking, or rather they don't raise or ask for opportunities. Would you think, or do you think this could be one of the reasons why we don't have women in leadership positions or key positions in the organizations?
Yeah, I can take that for a start. Yes, the short answer is yes. I think that networking, of course, the term now is more hackneyed. It gets bandied around, and we're not even sure what exactly that means. But let's break that down. Building relationships within the organization is key to growth and success, in my opinion. I think it plays a very key role, and it's a myth that women don't do that well. Yes, women have constraints in socializing after business hours, and frankly, again, in my opinion, that's okay. That is not critical to building relationships. I think most of us can build relationships, and really solid, good relationships within the organization, without feeling compelled to go for dinners and cocktails and stuff like that after office hours. And so the key, again, this was a long answer, but the answer is yes. It is key to growth and success within an organization, in my opinion.
So I'll just like to add that building that relationship is very important, as Amita said. Having your visibility is important. You can't be not known in the organization and aspire to get the leadership roles. However, and this is also a mindset change. So as organizations become more professional about their succession, it will have to be not about the person you know more, but about the people who exist in the organization who can do that job well and who have been prepared over a period of time. So I think it's a process of maturing not only your gender balance efforts, but also your succession efforts, which will lead to that direction, in my view.
I would say that visibility is extremely important, but visibility is right visibility, okay? Visibility, the point that Sunita raised earlier, I think is extremely critical. If you're good at what you're doing, you will get noticed. And if you're able to make that difference, right, and if you're able to make that impact, I don't see why you can't get noticed. Visibility from a work perspective, I would like to think, and I can say that certainly for my organization, it is not about networking from outside the office at parties or etc. Certainly not that. It's about being visible from a performance point of view. And I think most good organizations today have a robust mechanism of talent pipeline development with processes of succession planning, etc. And I think with those processes being in place, it's about whether a person is good at what they do and what do they bring to the table, which actually becomes the deciding factor. Having said all of that, are there biases existing in people's minds? I think the answer is yes. And do those biases need to be changed? Certainly yes, right? So I think it is not about so much about women being absent. I think people who are good at their jobs do get noticed, and do good at what they do get noticed. And I think the process, the way in which a talent pipeline building process is built, I think a lot of the process issues get taken care of. However, we are still battling with, and I say this for the world at large, and battling with mindset issues, which I think we need to work on and chip away at. Yeah.
Can I just add one other quick point to this? Certainly, if you do good work and you will get noticed, as both Sunita and Raj said. However, this networking piece provides you an opportunity to let key stakeholders know what your aspirations are, how you'd like to grow in the firm, whether you're looking to slow down, not slow down, take on a different role. So it's not just about networking for the sake of networking, but building connections allows you all those opportunities to let key stakeholders know where you want your career to go. So it's that piece as well. That's why it's very important.
So any last questions?
And that, I guess, is a point in any conversation that happens on whether it's a man or a woman, the conversation which happens, that's equally applicable, because whether you're a man or a woman, you need to certainly have that conversation as part of your career progression with your immediate manager or your coach or skip level manager, whoever, in terms of what your aspirations are.
But the way we say in our organization, men naturally have more of those conversations with male leaders because they naturally have access to informal networks, whereas women need to make a little more of an effort. But of course, even the leaders ought to make more of an effort to pull in women into that conversation. It's a two-way street, but yes, you're very right. But it's applicable to both genders. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What I can make out is that the culture is extremely inclusive in nature. There's a lot of focus there. You had your leader coming and addressing us. I would be interested in knowing what is the percentage of women that you have at the top? And I'm not talking about the top, but above the middle layer. So if we can take that as the percentage. Also, what have you really done? You spoke about a leadership program, but if you could just classify those one or two things that you did in order to ensure that you would just increase your percentage at the top, I think that would be great for us to hear.
Okay, if I look at the Titan Management Council, right, which is just below the CXO panel, we have 15% of the Titan Management Council are women. The percentage of women at the next level, which is the senior management team, is also 15%. Yeah, and one below, which is the middle management, is about 18% or so. Yeah, and the total population in the organization is 25% women. Okay, and which I guess is represented very well right at the top, where we have 25% women on the board. Yeah. Now, when we were doing our talent, to answer your second question, that's your first question, what is the percentage? Now, to your second question, what is it specifically that we do? I think one specifically which we did recently after we finished our talent management review and looked at our top talent and found that we had 15% women within that top talent group, is how do we increase that, right? And then building the consensus among the senior management or the CXO group that we need to increase the numbers there, and specific actions on how we can increase that have been agreed upon. Those include, for those few lateral positions that we recruit from outside, all things being equal, we first start with looking for suitable women candidates, and if we don't find women candidates, right, then we look at male candidates. It sounds, but we actually say, let's try and see if we can do a certain level of first choice or first set to, when we talk to, especially at certain levels, when we talk to either looking at our pool of talent from outside which we've got shortlisted, or when we talk to select recruitment companies, we first ask for this, and if they can't find somebody, then we look at men. The second is, in terms of our own development, our development programs, I think we said as we change Baton and as we evolve as an organization, it's important to bring in sensitivity at various levels. So when we look at building our different programs on leadership development, I think sensitivity to this point, to this aspect, and not just gender diversity, but diversity in general, because we have diversity in different other ways, right? Bringing in sensitivity through communication, through development, is something we focus on. Yeah. There's to start with, a couple of things that I can immediately tell you that we do, right? Which is right now, which has just been happened, which just happened. Yeah.
Thank you. So, being mindful of the time, thank you very much for those very insightful questions, and thanks to everybody for the for the diverse views, I would say, because we had everything from we should measure or we should not measure or we should question the measurement or the mandate to a certain extent. Of course, very coherent views around education, awareness, and the building of the culture, policies, etc. I'm sure that that is brought